It's interesting. I know a lot of lefties who haven't lost their mind over Donald Trump. Not everybody has to lose their mind over Donald Trump. Many will. Joe Biden gave a very dignified speech yesterday. Even he didn't seem to have lost his mind over Donald Trump. In fact, he can actually go to his retirement knowing he was the only bloke that beat Donald Trump. I suppose he's got that, something his vice president hasn't got. Nonetheless, there are many people who have truly lost the plot. I mean, Jimmy Kimmel is just one such example. They are, of course, the Republicans on course for a clean sweep. Retaining control of the House of Representatives. They've got the White House, they've got the Senate. I mean, it's a great day if your name is Donald Trump. President-elect has named Susie Wiles as the next White House Chief of Staff, the first woman to hold that position. Let's speak to Matthew Breiser, former White House official for the Obama administration. Matthew, nice to speak with you again, sir. Have you lost your mind, or are you managing to keep sane in all of this?
Well, just a minor correction. I mean, since I was a Bush administration official for 4 years, no, I'm nonpartisan. But I did serve in the Obama administration too. No, not at all. I mean, the American people...
Can I just ask on that point, how did you end up doing both?
I was a career diplomat. And I got along well with President Bush and Condoleezza Rice. And then it was time to go back after the Bush administration, go back to my home in place, the State Department.
Sure.
Did that. Yeah. But no, I haven't lost my mind as far more than usual. The Republicans won. The Democrats ran a terrible campaign. They had a bad message. They talked down to their electorate. They never described how they were going to make life better for their voters. And Trump did that, whether you believe him or not. And it was arrogant to them. So
it's interesting how there's this kind of turnaround of who or how we associate different parties. You'll be familiar, I know, because of your own story. You know how it works over here as well as over there. Conservative, Labour, Conservative, the party of the landed gentry, Labour, the party of the working man. I mean, that ceased to be the case years ago, but some people still try to fight tooth and nail to make those stereotypes stick. And similarly, in the States, the Republicans, it's the country club elite, and the Democrats, the steel worker, the car worker, etc. That seems to have changed. You've got all the gazillionaires loving the Dems, and the average working person appears to be voting Republican. What's happened?
Yeah, all the gazillionaires except the tech bros who now love Trump because he's going to remove taxes and regulations. But it's complete reversal. I mean, when I was growing up, my mom, dyed-in-the-wool Democrat, would always say the Democratic Party is for the workers. My dad was a Republican. He was a businessman. That is completely flipped. The Republicans are now the party of the working class, regardless of racial background, regardless of religion. They are the party of the working class. And the Democrats are now really the party of the elite, sort of university-educated Americans, and there's not enough of those for the Dems to win.
It's interesting, isn't it? What's going to happen, of course, with Mr. Trump is yet to be seen, but certainly at the moment, just seeing how this is playing out in the first few days, I think students of politics in years to come will be writing dissertations just on this 48-hour period almost. Some interesting things have happened. The Chief of Staff appointee, how important is that outside the inner circle? Is there any reason why that should interest the general public? Is it significant in any other way other than to anybody but the president?
Yeah, but his entire, executive operation, because the chief of staff is the second most powerful person in the White House. I know I spent 40 years in the White House, and chief of staff is, in this case, is going to be the gatekeeper. So Susie Wiles has said, nobody gets to the president except through me, which means nobody, no crackpots, no wacky people, but nobody who wants to try to persuade President Trump to deviate from his electoral campaign action plan, because she was the master of that all.
Sure.
She's so well respected, especially by her subordinates, which is really the sign of true respect. It's easy to respect up. Respect down. She's respected by her subordinates. She's seen as fair, and she's a real operative. We haven't had a chief of staff that's a political operative for many, many administrations, maybe since Ken Duberstein, way back when, I guess, in the Reagan days.
And she campaigned with Reagan as well, worked on his team. I mean, that's how long she's been around, right?
Absolutely. She is a total pro. And you saw, if anybody watching, when, Trump gave his rally when he won, she didn't want the spotlight. Trump tried to get her to speak. She said, no, I'm not going to talk. So
Yes.
she's, on paper, the ideal chief of staff, seeks no limelight, wants to make more than the trains run on time, want to make sure that the right train is running at the right time.
Yeah, absolutely. What about those other appointments, though? I mean, lots of eyes are on the high-profile people. I'm thinking Kennedy, Musk. I mean, my guess is those guys are not going to get government jobs, but in the conventional sense, but maybe advisory in some sort of capacity?
Yeah, I think advisory for sure. We have this tradition. For some reason, we call the coordinators of wide policy initiatives czars, which is really bizarre. But
I know it's kind of weird, isn't it?
Really weird. But I think that, it seems clear Kennedy's going to get some advisory coordination role on health policy, although he's been saying some crazy things. It's like Dr. Strangelove back in the 50s. We got to get fluoridated water or fluoride out of the water. And I think Elon Musk, it looks like he's going to get some new position that President Trump will create for cutting government fat and expenditures. But I think, pretty quickly, Elon Musk is going to fall out with President Trump in as much as the way, Trump wants to lift the regulations that have benefited the electric vehicle industry that had been so great for Tesla. So there's some built-in contradictions. But yeah, I think they'll get jobs. But I think the most important appointment is one that not a lot of people are looking at, which is Attorney General, because Trump has said he's going to use the Department of Justice to prosecute his opponents who tried, he believes, to prosecute him politically, and then he's really going to need the Justice Department, but others as well, for his big initiative to deport illegal migrants into the United States, and it's millions, 10 million.
Well, that is. I mean, I was just reading, even the surface of that story. I mean, the monumental machinery required to do or to match the words that he's spoken is absolutely vast. I mean, every individual is going to be looking at challenges and legal systems, and you've got to do that for every single person that you believe should not be in the United States and get rid of. I mean, this could take, on a good day, it could take several decades. So I don't imagine this is going to happen by Christmas.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right, or at least by Easter, since he won't be in until after Christmas.
Yes.
But still, nonetheless, and that's why I mentioned the Attorney General. Yeah, there'll be so many court cases. 1 in 4 immigrant or migrant families, or 1 in 4 Latino families, has one member that's illegally in the United States. So that's a huge number of families. And then the money, it'll be tens of billions of dollars to do this as well. I just don't see how he can do it. Similarly, he had said that he's going to build a wall on the border with Mexico, and Mexico would pay. That never happened. Part of the wall was paid for it.
Yeah, and that's a long old wall, right? I mean, you can with every good intention, that wall is much longer than you think it is in your head, I guess. Listen, Matthew, we will speak again. Thank you for your time, sir. Matthew Bryser, former White House official. He worked in a very senior capacity as a diplomat under the Obama administration, but also works under Bush as well. America is losing its mind, it seems. Well, part of America is. I mean, I thought the Jimmy Kimmel thing, my biggest takeaway from the Jimmy Kimmel thing was it was just very undignified. It was undignified, and it was just supremely anti-intellectual to kind of list everybody, every category and group of people, men, women, children, old people, young people, foreign people, American-born people, gay people, straight people. Everybody is going to lose because it's Donald Trump, and that really annoys me because it interferes with my cosy identity of what I think life should be. And I didn't want to hear somebody like Kimmel. I look at Kimmel like I want to look at, comedians are there, I get it, to lampoon and caricature and take on themes like the establishment, like politicians. I don't want Kimmel to like Donald Trump. That would simultaneously make him a bit bizarre as well. But I also don't want him to cry on national television because Donald Trump got elected and most of the voting public voted for him. That's a heck of a lot of people there, Jimmy, that you are kind of eradicating from your curious, settled mind on this one. I genuinely don't understand it, and I don't know why Kimmel would have wanted to go there with his kind of pseudo-tears of doom. There was another clip we spotted, by the way. This is absolutely beautiful. This is something that a woman, we don't have a name for her, like so many people who lob a video out of their own face on social media. She just refers to herself as a political analyst. Well, as you will see or hear from this clip, she's clearly a pretty rubbish political analyst. She recorded this before the results came in. She recorded this clearly as a Democrat, clearly as a Kamala Harris fan. It's only after the event you can see and make a judgment on what kind of political analyst she is and how good she might be at that job. It's the levels of unbridled confidence with which this woman speaks. Have a listen and a look at this.
Okay, so we're closing in on almost 5 p.m. Eastern time, and I've been tracking everything that's been going on across the country today. And my most important encounter was when I went out to get my champagne. I was talking to the guy in the store, of course, asking him, did he vote? And he said he did early voting, and he asked me if I early voted. And he asked me, you know, why I was getting the champagne. And I said, because I'm going to be toasting Madam President tonight. And he just looked at me with kind of like a smirk on his face. And I said, you know, she's going to win this, right? And he says, oh, well, it's very, very close. And I said, no, it's not. He says, well, what do you mean? I said, no, it's not. The women of America are making their voices heard. Reproductive rights is what it all comes down to. And the women are voting in numbers relative to men that are unbelievable. She's won this. And I said to him, she's going to take every one of the swing states plus Iowa. And he said, oh, but the numbers are so close. I said, I'm a political analyst. I'm telling you right now, the numbers are there. She's taking this election. And then I said to him, you realize, and he didn't tell me who he voted for, but of course I knew. And I said, you do realize you wasted your vote, right? And I didn't care. And I walked out with my bottle of champagne and happily walked home. Bye-bye.
It's the laugh, isn't it? It's the laugh that really sends the shivers up the, yeah. Spooky old witch. I don't know who that is, but she thought she had enough witch-based properties to predict the election result. She didn't stop.